originality. Shout out to Kakashi, he's really the blueprint, because when it comes to modern anime, these boys just love to copy. But if I'm talking old versus new gen, then I have to start with the grandfather of shonen, Dragon Ball. Thanks to Dragon Ball, there are countless dumb, happy-go-lucky main characters circulating in shonen. And Goku might be the dumbest, luckiest one of them all. Just like water, that boy Toriyama found the perfect formula. So good in fact that not just new gen, but everybody that came after was following this. Both Naruto and Luffy's creators have said that they were inspired by Goku, which makes sense because they do share two brain cells, one for crashing out and one for meat. If Luffy was real, he'd either be a streamer or homeless. This guy's so stupid, he forgot he doesn't know how to swim and almost drowned. If Naruto was real, he'd be the most legendary YN since King Von. But unlike bro, if you shoot shots at Naruto's belly, then Kuruma's just gonna get his reboot card. Dang. Everybody loves a foolish, happy-go-lucky main character. I mean, they're relatable and often quite funny, just somebody that you want to protect or want to be protected. That's the type of feeling these characters give to us as readers and viewers. And even when they do make mistakes, this archetype of character eventually, not always immediately, but eventually realizes their mistakes and tries to rectify them. They give the impression of an innocent child, and unless you're the star of a Gideon video, then that feeling is just pure and always puts you on their team. This character type is A tier. I don't blame new gen writers for using something that they know works, and usually they put their own spin on it too, like Saitama being a gag character, Kuro Sensei being an alien, and Deku being a bitch. The classic style of one sensei and his students was heavily popularized by Naruto, and when I first saw the Jujutsu Kaisen manga trending, I thought the writer was me. The way I assumed that he shamelessly went on ChatGPT and typed the prompt, "write me an anime," and shamelessly copy and pasted Kakashi. Of course, now I love my glorious King Gojo, and his infinity would never stop me from touching him.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But at the time, first glance, it was crazy. Since there was less media to draw inspiration from, these mangakas were forced to be creative. And look at the stories of Gurren Lagann and Sailor Moon. To this day, writers have difficulty publishing stories with female leads, and it's such a shame considering just how massive and impactful this female-led anime was. Girls around the world loved Sailor Moon, and it gave them that representation in a field where they weren't used to seeing it. Gurren Lagann making the coolest MC only to send him straight back to the lobby, and then drills, friendship, and intergalactic warfare. To be honest, I think that writer was taking some drugs that I haven't even heard of, because he was seeing things on a different plane of existence to us. Fruits Basket is another creative masterpiece personifying the Chinese zodiacs, but I can't talk originality and not mention Dandadan. Dandadan is a very big breath of fresh air, because its story isn't overly difficult to the point where it's inconsumable, but rather the concepts of Dandadan are so original that you can't see it as anything except what the writer wants us to view his show for. It's not completely unheard of. They combine aliens with ghosts, and they use very niche references that are quite cool. Then out of nowhere, you're hit with the most gut-wrenching, tear-tugging anecdotes that make you realize that you might be consuming a modern classic. Solo Leveling has a uniquely designed power system that I do personally very much love, as it being a game system is very relatable. Of course, we've seen its isekai coming back to life elements done 1,000 times before, but the plotline still manages to keep it feeling unique. Darling in the Franxx as well, for example, you could view 02 as Hero's Kurama, but instead of a devil in his body, it takes form as a love interest that he needs to survive. I do love old generation anime, but I won't come on this video and give you one side of the story. Not all new gen writers are slacking. There are some very creative original ideas circling. Plot over visuals. Anime first hooked me with its deeply intricate plots. Neon Genesis Evangelion was a show that was so emotionally challenging, designed to confuse and perplex you as you attempt to guess the 1 million different but equally depressing possible outcomes from the scenes that you're seeing on your screen. I feel like a lot of writers wrote their stories because they had a story to tell. The financial opportunities and fame were there, but it's not the same as how it was today. So when their stories came, they came with passion. Pause. And I'm gonna hit you with a slightly hot take here, but I'd go as far as to say, in a general scope, I think I prefer old animation to what we currently have today. Thank you, MAPPA, for all of your hard work, but I miss when the animators would actually animate. Sure, it might not have been smooth, but it wasn't Blue Lock Season 2. But it's funny I mentioned that, because that is one of the new gen anime with one of the more intriguing plots and significantly less intriguing animation. Although the art saves the animation in this case, Blue Lock is drawn inexplicably. There's not many things more sexy. Code Geass and Hajime no Ippo are great examples of plot over visuals. The animation is smooth, but it's not at the same time, but the shows develop their characters enough to the point where we actually have an interest in them, build their world so we can understand the impact of people's decisions. And ultimately, Code Geass gave us one of the greatest endings in fiction because their stories were prioritized. And when we're talking plot, I'm gonna just start using the word story because that's what these shows are, they're stories. The reason why you couldn't stop Naruto and why you watched it to its completion is because they gave their side characters time. They let us know their stories too, the lore as to why they are who they are, illustrated the dynamics between individuals and groups. Naruto spoiler alert. To this day, I still think Asuma Sensei had the saddest death in Naruto. Nothing hit like that one did in the moment. There was just so much emotion to it. They showed us the woman he loved, the family he was about to build, how much his village loved him. Nah, this guy was the king of his city. I know he'd hit them cigarettes and look over the balcony of a hidden leaf like this, because he really got the keys to the city. Then to see the emotional breakdown of the most nonchalant character in the entire show, it's just enough to make a grown man cry. It tied it all together. And that was the sensei of a side character. Who's doing that now? On all of my dead homies, we don't rock with his daddy though. If I was Sasuke, I would have on-sighted that man. He was crashing out on all of the wrong people. Your mama dead, and now you're out here fighting the lesbian homie like the village elders aren't still breathing. Sasuke's nothing but a Joe rapper that lies in the booth. Spin for your pops. The very best stories are the ones that make you feel like you're a part of them too. To this day, I'm convinced that I'm a Straw Hat Pirate because that's how the writer makes us feel. New gen anime is great, but they forget this trait all too often. They make their stories as complex as possible, but the importance is lost on us as readers and viewers because we don't know the characters. This was the main complaint of Rising of the Shield Hero, because who even are these people? I'm not a part of the MHA fan base, but I'm not a sheep either. You will never see me hate or love on something just because everybody else is doing the same. For me, MHA is one of the new gen anime that hits pretty much all of these traits. Again, spoilers, a training/tournament arc to learn the skills of the main cast and hear a little bit about why they fight, familiarizing us with these less important characters, but also given large roles in the show, like when Bakugo was kidnapped, or the Belly Beam guy having 6ix9ine as his #1 Spotify artist, and Ochako's speech. And none of these times I was confused at all because they introduced these characters, developed them, and made me understand why they'd even do any of these things. But speaking of old and new gen anime, I'm currently watching Soul Eater and Frieren. I'm watching them both at the same time right now. Give me more anime recommendations, and whilst you're in the comment section, since you're already down there, you might as well subscribe and leave a like. We're almost at 2.2k subs. The love has been crazy, so don't miss out on this growing community. You don't want to be the one that misses out. Quality over quantity and nostalgia. Thank God I didn't grow up in the 90s, because I actually like how there's an abundant amount of anime for us to choose from now today. Though back in the day, any genre of anime could get absolutely massive, mecha, seinen, anything. As long as it was good, people would watch it. I mean, there was limited choice. I grew up watching Inazuma 11. I thought that was the GOAT of fiction, but their school got raided by aliens challenging them to a football match. What was I thinking? But with this abundance of anime, of course, a lot of them are going to be absolutely dead. I want you to make a disgusted face and show me your underwear. The author should be sentenced to 99 lashes plus 50 years no parole. Because what is going on inside of that mind of his? Just keep it simple. Like Death Note. I could have really put this in the originality section because a story like Death Note will never be told again. Releasing a year after Monster and a year before Gurren Lagann, the most thrilling, captivating story of its time was told, with Bleach and FMAB releasing at a similar time, just demonstrating how ridiculous the quality of anime releasing at that time was. The saturation was so much less blatant. Nostalgia is an element that we can absolutely never overlook though, because people talk about Dragon Ball the same way they talk about Manchester United. Always talking about the glory days, even though they still play now. It's just that you don't watch it. And why? Because they suck. It sucks, bro. Sorry, Dragon Ball fans, but Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were great. GT was cool. Super's just shameless. Dragon Ball Super was the last manga that I read before going anime only, and I must say, I haven't experienced or been around this kind of disappointment since my dad opened my school report. But at least me getting U's in maths wasn't that disappointing. I was doing it regularly. But Dragon Ball used to be a great. You'd think Goku and Vegeta were teenage girls, the way they run off and dye their hair whenever something doesn't go their way. JJK will over-explain their abilities before they under-explain them. Attack on Titan, brilliant power system. Mob Psycho, another brilliant power system. Not brilliant actually, I retract that. A decent power system. It's okay, it's pretty good. These new generation shows came up witnessing such brilliant power systems before them, like Nen and Chakra. So they understood the importance of a comprehensive power system, but when the writers of Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, Akira were writing their stories, the only person they could look up to was Shakespeare. So again, the shows doing well at that time is testament to their originality and their very successful trial and error. When it comes to straight plotline, I do think generally that new gen absolutely clears old gen anime, I'll be real. They are paced significantly better most of the time. Their animation is absolutely clear most of the time. And they've taken inspiration from the generations that came before them. Kakashi Hatake said it the best.
I guess it's time to finally pass the torch. He surpassed me.
And that is all I've got for why old gen anime is better than new gen. Well, honestly, I have a lot to say, but to be honest, I like keeping my videos fairly short, because if we really want to debate old gen anime versus new gen anime, then we can really do that. We can sit here all day and do that, but that's more time for stream. Guys, drop me anime recommendations in my comment section down below. I need them. And finally, what are your thoughts? Do you prefer old gen or new gen? To be honest, I don't know what I prefer. I like them both a lot. I don't think I actually have a preference. Like I said, I'm literally watching Free Ren right now and Soul Eater, and then I'm watching my next immediate show is Clannad. To be honest, I watched Clannad episode 1 a very long time ago. That animation, couldn't get into it. I know I had a whole segment saying plot over visuals, but damn, give me just a bit more time. I'm gonna watch Clannad very soon. But yeah, let me know, what do you think is better, old gen or new gen, and let me know the reasons why. And guys, I will see you in next week's video. But for now, it is peace and love. Ooh.